looks like we had a flock of birds come in. Yes, we got the Byrds Spyderco's budget line of knives. So let's take a look at what Byrd has to offer. How's everybody doing? Good, good. Glad to hear it. I am doing great. Anytime I get to look at knives, talk about knives, play with knives, I am doing fantastic. All right, what we have here is we have a couple of metal arcs and then a Cara in the middle. And let's kind of talk about the metal arcs first. You'll notice that they are pretty much the same thing as a Delica. Same size, same basic shape, and same operating mechanism. All right, just a little bit of the specs first. Overall length, like the Delica, is 6.94 inches with a 2.84 blade and a 4.06 handle, and that's going to be your closed length. It's a drop point, plain edge, satin finish, and this one here, the FRN handle, like it's about the same weight as a Delica and the same material. It's 2.7 ounces, and then you have the stainless, which is noticeably heavier. Actually, it's not quite twice as heavy, but it is very noticeably heavy. It weighs in at 4 ounces. So what we're going to look at is value. The Delica will price out somewhere in the $75 to $80 range, typically for the standard model like this one. And these are considerably less expensive. This one, the FRN handle, will price out at about $24 or so. And then the stainless is, probably about $27, $28. You can typically find those brand new. The Delica is manufactured in Seiki City, Japan, and the blade material is VG10. The Seiki City manufactured items are always considered very good quality, and Spyderco monitors the quality of the knives that are manufactured for them very closely to make sure the standards rise to what they expect. And from what I hear, they have that same standard on the Chinese-made knives as well. Now, how do they save the money to get the price so much lower than on the Delica? First of all, they use a more budget steel. This is going to be 8CR13 MOV, where the Delica is going to be VG10. And manufacturing in China is going to be just cost of labor is a lot less. So that's one way in which they're able to get these in at a lot lower price. Everybody's got opinions about Chinese-made materials. I have found that the Made in China emblem does not necessarily mean poor quality. They have the capability of making good stuff there, and they do make some good knives there. And unless you just have an issue with buying Chinese-made items, it really should not be a deterrent. If you are diligent in your shopping and what you're looking for, and knowing what you're looking for in quality. All right, the fit and finish on these, to be honest, look just like the fit and finish on the Delica and other Spyderco products I have looked at. The way it feels, it's still kind of tight when you open it. You're not going to be able to flip it, and the stainless one's really tight. But you can still operate it one-handed. Now, when I got the Delica in, it was just as tight as these are. And I sat and watching TV or just kind of just sitting outside enjoying the outside air, would just sit and flip it, work it open, and just fidget with it. And after countless openings, it got to where I can actually, if I get out there, yeah, like that, I can pretty much just flip it open, easy enough. Lockback knives are going to be tighter just by nature, so you may never get it to a point where you can really flip it open like you can a lot of other knives, but it feels just like this feels just like the Delica did when I bought it. Now, where do I see some of the price difference? It's in the I'd say the refinement. To me, FRN is going to feel a little cheap compared to like say a G10 or something like that, but the difference between the Delica and this Metal Arc, it's just I mean, it's the kind of details that you get, you know, you're going to pay more money for. Just a smoother edges on the Delica versus the Metal Arc. It's just, you know, this has more of that, it came out of the mold and just has a cheaper feel to it. So you can just feel those edges, where the Delica edges are rounded off and just have a nice, smooth, attention to detail feel to it. And then when you go into the scales, the gripping, you know, just first glance they look very similar, but the Delicas have a nicer feel. These have again, it's just a more sharpy kind of it has a good grip to it, but you can just feel the difference. And when you run your hand along pretty much anywhere on the surface, you just feel the difference in the smoothness. So it's just nothing that I'd say really detracts from the quality of the knife. It's just a refinement thing, and you know, it's just one of those things where you're just going to get a little bit of what you pay for. Now, one advantage I do give the Metal Arc over this Delica is the front finger choil. The Delica does not have that, and for these type of knives, and for an everyday carry knife, for a knife I like to carry every day, that is a feature in which I really like, because I like to get in there, and a lot of what I'm doing on everyday type stuff is going to be more smaller, delicate type operations, and I can get in there and I feel like I got that little extra control with that blade. You do have a little surface here with the Delica. You can get in there, but you feel like you don't do it because you feel like you can slip off and easily cut your hand or finger. So that's one nice little difference that I give the advantage to a Metal Arc over the Delica on this situation. On the stainless, same thing. You've got that forward finger troll, and they both have good ramp jumping here, just like the Delica does. So you can get in there and you feel like you got good control of the knife. The stainless does have a slicker handle, so you get in there if you are going to do something and maybe your hands are wet. You do have that finger troll and that ramp to really get a good bite in there, so that you have a good firm hold. Now I will say that stainless is a sweet looking knife. That's pretty. Now it's going to show fingerprints and the oils from your hand and all that, but as far as just pulling out and looking at it, that's a really sweet looking knife. It is noticeably tighter in operation than the brown one, so don't know if it's just heavier spring, but it does not have a pivot screw in there that I can see. It must be just captured in there, and so there's no adjustment at all. You're going, whatever looseness you achieve is just going to be strictly by breaking it in. Now both of these do have the 4-way positional pocket clips, tip up, tip down, left, right, and they both have a lanyard hole right there in the runs right through the pocket clip if you have the tip up configuration. And it's a nice size, so you can, if you do use a lanyard, you can get a nice size, you can get full size paracord through there. Should be able to without any issue. But it is pretty nice value, I think. I mean, what's out there for the sub $30 range knives? I don't think you could go wrong with these. If you are a Spyderco fan and you're on a budget, these would be a excellent alternative. And you do have the jumping here also on the handle part. So typically I'm not right there with it. I'm going to be up here anyway, but that's a nice feature, and that is missing from the stainless. You don't have that. It would be harder for them to, I guess, cut that into the stainless and keep that slick look that it has. And then we got the Cara, which is the birderized version of the Endura. And I don't have an Endura on hand to compare, but the Endura, as you know, is just a large version of the Delica. And so Cara is going to be a full-size version of the Metal Arc. So it's all the same issues, just on a bigger scale. You got the same operation. It's got the same feel, opening and closing. This one looks like it came in just a little off center, where the stainless Metal Arc and this Metal Arc are both dead on center. But it's not over enough that it looks like it's rubbing or anything like that. And there is a little bit of adjustment to the pivot, so you might be able to straighten that up if you are bothered by that. Again, fit and finish as compared to the Spyderco. It has good fit, good operation. The finish is where you see the budget in this, in which you have the more of the sharper edges, and you don't have that rounded off smooth feel all the way over. And same thing with these scales and the grips on those. They just have a sharper feel. Good grip to them, but sharper feel, and it just doesn't feel as refined. And that's what you're going to expect, unless they just really skimp on materials or something like that. They got to give up something, and to get the price down as low as they do. And that's one area in which they do it. And it's slightly noticeable. If you've handled a Spyderco and then you handle one of these, you're going to feel that these that just gives these a cheaper feel overall. But say this Cara prices in at about $26 retail new, and you can see here where they, little cut marks where this came out of the mold. It's just little budget touches like that keeps this from feeling like a quality knife, even though it's still a good value. And I honestly would not be bothered if I carried one of these on a daily basis. It'd be a knife that you wouldn't worry too much about doing damage to. If you lost it or damage it or break it or something like that, you're not out a lot of money. All right, let's just see how sharp they are coming out of the box. We're just going to cut a little paper here. Nothing, no fancy cut test or anything. But, yep, that's sharp. And that's sharp enough too. And oh yeah, plenty sharp. They just cut right through that paper real nice. So they come sharp out of the box. 18CR 13 MOV is not going to hold an edge as well as VG10, but keep your stone handy and touch it up after some use, and you'll keep it nice and sharp for most everyday type uses. So there you have it, the Byrd. My personal opinion is it's a nice budget alternative if you're just getting into knives and you're a fan of Spyderco and you like the Spyderco design and style. This would be a good way to get in. For a lot less money, and it also allows you to, at that lower price point, you can get a bigger variety of styles and sizes, and have you a nice little collection, and create your own flock of Byrds. So that is the look at some Byrd knives right there. That's all I have. We'll see you guys next time.